The office building was almost silent after 10 p.m. The fluorescent lights had dimmed to a warm amber glow, and the only sounds were the faint hum of the air conditioning and the occasional creak of the old wooden floors. Everyone had left hours ago, except for her. Her name was Elena. She had been with the company for 3 years, sharp, ambitious, always one step ahead. Tonight, she wore a deep burgundy blouse that hugged her figure just right, sleeves rolled up to her elbows, the top button undone in a way that looked accidental but wasn't. She sat at her desk in the corner office, scrolling through reports she didn't need to read. She was waiting. He arrived at 11:17. James, her boss, tall, composed, the kind of man who never raised his voice but could command a room with a single look. He paused in the doorway, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up like hers. His eyes found her immediately. "You're still here," he said, voice low, almost surprised. Elena looked up slowly, letting a small smile play on her lips. "I had some things to finish, and I knew you'd come back." He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The click of the latch felt louder than it should have. The room suddenly felt smaller, the air thicker. James walked over to the window, pretending to look at the city lights below, but she knew his attention was on her reflection in the glass. She stood up, moving with deliberate grace, her heels tapping softly on the floor. "I couldn't stop thinking about our meeting earlier, the way you looked at me when everyone else was talking." He turned to face her. "You noticed that?" "I notice everything about you." She stepped closer, close enough that he could smell her perfume, something warm and spiced, like cinnamon and vanilla, close enough that the space between them felt electric. James's hand lifted, hesitating for a moment before brushing a stray lock of hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her cheek, tracing the line of her jaw. She didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned into his touch, eyes half closed. "I've wanted this for months," he admitted, voice rough. "But you're my employee. This is complicated." Elena's fingers found the edge of his tie, tugging gently. Complications can be beautiful. She knew what she was doing. Every movement was calculated, slow, teasing, designed to pull him in deeper. She let her hand slide down his chest, feeling the steady thump of his heartbeat beneath the crisp white shirt. He inhaled sharply. Their eyes locked. No words were needed. She rose on her toes, lips brushing his in the lightest of touches, testing, teasing. He responded instantly, one hand cupping the back of her neck, pulling her into a kiss that started soft and quickly deepened. The kiss was hungry, urgent, like they'd both been holding back for too long. Her hands slid under his jacket, pushing it off his shoulders. It fell to the floor, forgotten. His fingers worked the buttons of her blouse, one by one, revealing smooth skin and the delicate lace beneath. He paused, giving her time to stop him. She didn't. Instead, she guided his hands, letting them explore the curve of her waist, the dip of her spine. She pressed herself against him, feeling the heat of his body through their clothes. A soft gasp escaped her lips as his mouth moved to her neck, kissing the sensitive spot just below her ear. She tilted her head, giving him more access, her fingers threading through his hair. "James," she breathed, voice trembling with need. He lifted her gently, setting her on the edge of the desk, papers scattered, but neither cared. Her legs wrapped around his waist instinctively, pulling him closer, their bodies aligned perfectly, heat against heat, breath mingling. She kissed him again, slower this time, savoring every moment. Her hands roamed his back, nails lightly grazing through his shirt. He groaned softly against her lips, hands sliding up her thighs, bunching the fabric of her skirt. The touch was reverent, almost worshipful. She knew exactly what she was doing. She arched into him, letting him feel every curve, every shiver. She guided his hand to the small of her back, encouraging him to hold her tighter. Their movements were slow, deliberate, building tension, drawing out every sensation. Time lost meaning. The rain outside grew heavier, matching the rhythm of their breathing. She pulled back just enough to look into his eyes, dark, intense, full of unspoken promises.
"I've dreamed about this," she whispered, "about you touching me like this." He kissed her forehead, then her eyelids, then her lips again. "You have no idea how much I've wanted you." Their bodies moved together in a slow, sensual dance. She clung to him, fingers digging into his shoulders as waves of pleasure built inside her. He held her close, steady, letting her set the pace. Every touch, every kiss, every whispered breath felt like a confession. When the peak finally came, it was quiet, intense, her body trembling in his arms, a soft moan escaping against his neck. He followed moments later, holding her tightly, their hearts pounding in unison. Afterward, they stayed like that, wrapped in each other, breathing hard, the world outside forgotten. She rested her head on his shoulder, fingers tracing lazy patterns on his chest. He kissed the top of her head. "This changes everything." She smiled against his skin. "Good. I was tired of pretending." Elena pulled back slightly, meeting his gaze with that same knowing look. "See? I told you. I knew what I was doing." She slid off the desk, smoothing her skirt with a playful grin. He watched her, still dazed as she gathered her things. "Same time tomorrow?" she asked, voice light. He laughed softly. "You're dangerous." "I know," she said, winking. "And you love it." She walked to the door, pausing to blow him a kiss. Then she was gone, leaving him alone in the quiet office, heart racing, already counting the hours until tomorrow.